What's up, everybody? We're getting some chop in the market. Are you losing your butt on this pullback? Were you prepared? I'm going to be breaking down what the charts were telling us before this breakdown. I even shared a chart of this in the Discord before this happened. We got some really great key things we got to be watching. So everybody get involved. We're going to be getting started here in just a moment. As you guys roll in, get involved with that poll that's in there. Let me know. Do you think this is right now already the buy the dip opportunity? Do you think we're going lower? Are you just waiting to see what the charts say? Getting that breakdown? Let's see what you all got. Everybody thinks here. Sawtooth said he's waiting for lower. I'm hoping for lower too, but what do the charts say? We're going to be breaking down. Alexander G, how you doing? Learning, how you doing? Sawtooth Hiker, how you doing? We got the crew here. We're about to get this going, everybody. Hope you're all feeling good. And it is, I had noise in my ear. I'm excited to break down this charts with you, everybody. It's Tuesday. Everybody, let's get excited. Let's feel good. Let's hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get this going, baby. Guys, we got the vibes here right now. We're about to get this going. I want to see everybody in here. Alexander G gifting 1 membership. Big love to you. Shout out to everybody that's already here. Let me know. Are you ready to break down these charts? I want to see everybody that's in here roll call. Let's see who's in here before everybody else rolls in. I want to know where you're tuned in from, what city, what state, and also what country. Also, what are you doing right now? Are you working? Are you driving? Are you making breakfast? Let's talk about these charts. We're doing it right now. Let's get involved. Everybody hit that like button. Let's talk about these charts. I got some signals for you, and we're going to break it down. If you're ready, drop a 1 in chat right now. I want to see 100 ones because it's about to go down, baby. We're about to talk about this opportunity that is brewing. Bitcoin breaking down, crypto taking a little bit of a spill. What does this mean for the charts? What does it mean for the price? Is this a buy the dip opportunity? What does the data say? How do we take the best advantage of what's going on right now? We got to talk about some things. Market, yes, breaking down. And you know what? In the BitLab Discord, I'm not even joking. Almost moments before, look at this. Almost moments before, this is before this drop, I posted in the BitLab Discord. I said, hey man, this is looking, there's some signals here that suggest we may be tapping, exploring these lower price actions. What were those signals? What does the data say? What are the things that are suggesting that, hey man, we got some patience that we got to tune into? Welcome everybody. As you roll in, let's get that engagement up so YouTube pushes this out to more people. We got 116 people in the room right now. I want every single one of you to show some love to crypto content here on the internet. And this community especially. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. We're about to break down all these charts. And again, as you roll in, I want to see a little bit of a roll call. Let us know if you're new here. Let us know so we can welcome you. And also let us know where you tuned in from, what city, what state, what country. Let's see how far and how wide we got the net going out today. Now let's talk about these charts. I want to just point out real quick before we dive into the local price action. This is kind of expected. We've had these large bullish impulses each previous time that this has happened. Okay, we have a large impulse and then we need some consolidation. We need some either distribution or accumulation, meaning setting up to drop lower or setting up to send higher. And what we're seeing right now with this large push up, it would make sense. Yes, we could push all the way up to this next band up here at 60,000, but I think that would be a little bit ambitious at this point. As it stands right now, this was a large push from this low, January 22nd of this range to the high we just had was a pretty large push. I mean, let's look at this. Let's look at the push we just got. Let's go to the daily. Okay, let's double click on this chart. Okay, what sort of size is this move from this zone all the way up to this point right there? 34% move from this low to this high there. Now, that's a pretty big move. We have to make sure that we're not expecting the price only to go up and go down, because as we've seen on this chart that I just brought up, ooh, where'd it go? I think I just exited it on accident. It's okay. As we can see on this chart right here, you're going to see it in a second. I know it's not up. This right here, boom. This shows that once we have these large impulses, we tend to have a period of quiet time. Large impulse, quiet time, meaning frustrating, meaning most people get chopped out of a substantial portion of their portfolio because they're seeing this push up and they go, oh, I want to catch this before it goes higher. And then they lose the money. Or here, push up. I want it to go higher. Oh, now it drops. I'm scared. I'm going to sell. And then it goes up. Oh, I'm going to buy back in. Don't get chopped out. The market is designed to move the money from the impatient to the patient. Let me say that again. The market is chopping right now. Bitcoin and crypto just crashed, but did it? Or is it just healthy movement that we need to see as we stair-step our way up to the moon? The market moves money from the impatient to the patient. So the question is your portfolio growing or is it shrinking? Because if it's shrinking, that means you're donating money to the game and you're not honoring the rules of a strategy. Maybe you don't even have a strategy. And we're going to break down these charts right now and show you exactly what the signals are saying about what is likely to come next. So with that being said, again, every single one of you, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell, and let's talk about what these signals are. Now, when we're looking at what's going on right now, ETFs, it's been the news story for the last 5 months, okay? I mean, really, for the last 13 years, but we want to know what's going on with price action right now. We're going to get to that. But remember, good exposition of this patience right now is you're not going to get exactly what you want right now, because what you need right now is to understand the context. So be a little bit patient right now. We're going to dive into these charts in just a moment and show you what the signals are. The macro trend right now, though, this right here is something that's very important. $1.4 billion in 3 days. Never seen an ETF of any asset do this, especially a new asset, a new ETF. This is incredibly bullish. So if this is incredibly bullish, why is price dropping? Because things don't move up in a straight line, never having a retrace. We want to see the rise, retrace, continuation. Without that, then that's just not how markets work, okay? If it's going to move up quickly, it can move down quickly as well. So when we see this, we have to ask ourselves, what do the data signals say on this? And are there any signals we can track to see if there's going to be reduced buying pressure or even something that changes the speculative narrative around all this bullishness? And that right now, I'm glad you asked. Right here, we see this, and I've been sharing this the last couple of days. We see this sort of rounding about a little bit. This was rounding about right here, right now, when we're getting this little bit of pullback on the price action. Now, this is going to be directly correlated to the exact price movement, but we're seeing oscillations in the flows of purchasing of these ETFs. So whether or not this is actually directly affecting the buying or selling of Bitcoin, this is a data signal big money players are looking at when they're deciding. A good example is miners, major players in the crypto Bitcoin ecosystem. Well, what do they need to do in order to stay profitable over time? In order to stay profitable over time, they need to make sure that they can keep up with the evolution of technology. In order to do that, at some point they have to harvest some profits. Is my mic still on? Because I just ripped out the cable. Yes, it is. Okay. At some point, miners have to harvest some profits and buy new gear, upgrade their equipment before this halving happens. So when we see signals like this, and to us, a day trader or somebody that's trading on a 15-minute candle, swings and scalps, or somebody that's even trading on the daily, we may not be paying attention to this, but the big money players that make larger movements in the market happen may see this as one of their signals. Hey, man, yeah, we just hit that, that golden pocket range. What is it? It's right here, this $48,000 to $50,000 range. It's literally $48,000 to $50,000. If we draw this out, let's go to the bottom. There we go. So now I can do a fib, Option F from the top all the way to the bottom. If you're on PC, it's Alt F, and that immediately gives you a fib. And I just want you to notice, let's zoom in on this, 48.5 to 50,200. That's the golden pocket. So as bullish as everything is right now, we have to recognize there are big money players, smart money players, as well as just professional traders that are in here saying, hey man, this is a perfect opportunity on a regular basis when you see an asset, especially Bitcoin, has a retrace to the golden pocket. Why do they call it the golden pocket? Because it has a very high hit rate of being a potential reversal zone on a bounce to the upside. We've seen this, and I don't want to go through this. You can look through some of the Fibonacci videos and some of the stuff that I've shared here on the YouTube. It's also, I break this all down in the BitLab Academy, but this is a very high hit rate. So there is a potential that this rise into this tap, this rise into this, that this could have that retrace that comes down further, basically rejection here, and then bounce to come to the upside. I'm leaning on the more bullish case here that we don't get a massive rejection here and break this low here of 38,000 and coming down into this zone. I would be jumping for joy if this price action did reject here and come all the way down, basically have this higher high, come down, have a lower low down in here, and then bounce up in here. Why would I love this? Because I see what's coming on the macro with the halving around the corner and the institutional interest and the retail interest and the money manager interest and the government interest on Bitcoin, and it's all coming together at this same time period. I am so bullish on what's coming. I want the price action to go down here so I can figure out a way to get as much extra capital as possible put in this market so I can take advantage of that major move. Do I think it's going to come all the way down here? I'm giving it a smaller and smaller percentage chance. 2 weeks ago, I would have said about a 40% chance. Now I'd say it's probably about a 15% or less chance. So when we're looking at this on the 1 hour, let's kind of go into a little bit smaller time frame here. Double click on this. If you're ever scrunched up like this and you just want to be able to see it clearly, just double click on this right here where all their prices are. It will put you into auto mode. And so there's a couple things I want to pay attention to here. On the 1 hour, I talked about this a little bit on the Discover Crypto, my guest spot there with the TA, but we have to pay attention to this very fast movement here. This is essentially known as an inefficient move. What does this mean? It didn't do the work to get there. If you don't do the work to get there, you cannot maintain your position in that area. Think about a job. Let me say this. Why do we need to pay attention to these very quick impulses, bullish impulses so fast up? Because they're inefficient moves. Think about it like this. If you inefficiently or ineffectively or falsify your job skills and you get to a certain position, a certain job rank, and you're trying to do whatever you're doing, if you got there in an inefficient manner, and if you got there without doing the work to get there, meaning taking the stairs to get there, learning all the things you need to do, then it's going to be very difficult for you to maintain your position because people are going to be aware of that. The same thing is happening right now in the chart. This is how we get these Bart Simpson patterns. This is how we get these patterns like this, where we have this very quick move up, chop sideways, and then very quick move to the downside. This is inefficient. It did not do the work to get there. This went straight up, chopped around, and then fell straight down. This is something that happens on a regular basis when we're trading in this market. And again, every single candle tells you a story. And when you group these candles together, they paint the picture about what their intention is. So the question is, were you prepared for this drop or were you not? Did you get caught in the crossfire? That's what you got to ask yourself. So when we're looking at this right now, let's get back onto this chart. Inefficient move, chop sideways, breakdown. Now, could we have understood that a drop was likely? Even though it's so bullish, we just broke $50,000. It's going to 70. Is it? We're coming right into a very known level, golden pocket, okay? Talked about that enough. Okay, Kelly, I'm done with the golden pocket. Okay, well, let's get down to the 15 minutes. Let's see what picture was being painted. Let's see what paragraph was being written. what data was being shared in these patterns. If you're not looking at the charts this way, then you are stealing from yourself, because every candle tells you a story. And when you group them together, they're telling you a novel of information. Okay, very quick move to the upside. These are 15-minute candles. Very quick move to the upside. A little bit of hesitation here, but overall, very quick move up. Now, I want you to notice something. I'm going to do a bunch of trend lines here that show something that is very important to realize. This angle, look at this angle right here. Okay, now look at this angle right here. Almost the same. Okay, now look at this angle right here. Starting to lean a bit. Now let's look at this angle right here. Ooh, look what's happening here. Is this kind of like dominoes? Like here's a domino, it knocked. Now let's look at this one. What's the trend there? What is the trend there with the bullishness in these bounces? The bullishness is getting weaker on each subsequent attempt to the upside. Now remember, every time we're looking at price action on a chart, we're asking ourselves, what narrative story is the chart telling me? What is the strength of the bulls? What is the strength of the bears? And it is very tied together. If the bulls are getting weaker, then the bears are gaining strength. Does this make sense? Throw a 1 in chat if this makes sense. Throw a 2 in chat if, when you're looking at the charts, this is part of your process, trying to understand what the narrative is being told you by not just indicators, but the price action itself. Indicators are an extra, and indicators are phenomenal. We have the BitLab trading stack that really helps paint the picture here. But if you don't understand the price action, then you're going to have a really hard time understanding what's going on. So when we see this sharp leaning further, what's the next step? These dominoes are going to fall off the table. Okay, so the stage has been set. And again, we're just looking at price action here. And I'm going to add the indicators and all this stuff as well. That just gives you that final. Let me leave this here because I'll do a post about this in Discord and on Twitter. What we see here, and I want you to remind you, patterns repeat on all assets over time. Whether you're looking at the monthly, the weekly, the 3-day, the daily, the 4-hour, the 15-minute, the 1-minute, because it is a battle of narrative between the psychology of players within the space based on nature. Why? Because it's based on people. So when we see these dominoes falling, then we ask ourselves, okay, what's going on with the highs and the lows? What's going on with structure? What's going on with key levels? And so without even drawing trend lines like, horizontal lines and just looking at the price action itself, okay, what do we see? We see a higher low, see a higher low, and then what do we see? A lower low. So there's something different here on these moves, on these boom, boom, now all of a sudden lower low. And what have I told you all before? What have I told you before when we're looking at these price structures, trying to assess, is there likely going to be a further drop, or is this a consolidation, potentially accumulation for another move up? In this case, we had a lower low. This does not mean the price is going down. It's only one part of the puzzle. The second part of the puzzle here is this lower low is followed by a lower high. Boom, boom. Now, if we zoom out on this, we're going to go on a macro scale here. I just want to point something out to you because this happens time and time again. What happened right here? Sharp. Starting to lean. Leaning further. Leaning further. Leaning further. Not only that, we have a lower low followed by a lower high drop. Does this make sense? Push up. Right here, lower low, lower high, drop. Now it doesn't mean it's going to have some complete bear market drop through, but we do see this lower low, lower high, drop. Okay, let's see right here. We got a little bit of, we have the same angles going on here. Up. This is not only because sometimes it's not just going to be the angles, because you see these angles are getting sharper, the dominoes are falling, but the impulses are also getting smaller. Same thing right here, large impulse, smaller impulse. Now what do we get? Smaller impulse, and it's leaning over. So what do we look for? The next low, in this case, it's a lower low followed by a lower high. You don't have to catch this to get out of this position. You have to be aware on on whatever time period you're looking at, what does the picture paint? And do I have a confirmation on this? I call this the stoplight action protocol when you're looking for multiple green signals or multiple red signals. In this case, if you're trying to say, do I take a long here? Well, the impulses are getting smaller. The bullish narrative is waning. And we're also now forming a lower low. So you already have impulses getting smaller. That's one. Okay. You have a breakdown from this point with the M formation. That's two. You have a lower low. That's three. And then lower high. That's four. So if you're just using price action alone, you already have your stoplight action protocol, knowing that you're not taking along because you had no green lights up here just on a price action basis. On a potential short, this is telling you, hey, maybe you should either take profits on a long or potentially take a short. And I'm pointing this picture. Don't worry that this is in the past because I'm about to tie it to where we're at right now. Now we have the lower low followed by the lower high. So then you get out at this position. Okay, maybe you didn't get out at $68,000, $69,000, but wouldn't you have rather, knowing now that the price went down to 15,000, wouldn't you rather be a little cautious here? Because you don't know if we're going to get this. You see how this broke down and then we had another attempt to the upside? In this case, on this lower low followed by a lower high, you take this position right here on the break of this low. And then what price point is that? $53,900. And then that would have taken you all the way. You would have been able to ride this all the way down until a structure breaks out. And maybe you get in on this bounce here and this level here, $25,000. I'm showing you a very conservative way to do this. And I'm just looking at price action. So knowing that and looking at this where we're at right now, let's go back into the 15 minutes. So we had this same structure, large attempts, smaller attempts, and the angle is leaning, the dominoes are falling. We have the lower low followed by the lower high. So price action already is telling the story that the bull's narrative is waning, meaning it's getting weaker, which means the bear's narrative, they're in the hibernations. Okay, maybe we're about to make a run to the downside, mother. You know what I'm saying? So what we got here is this attempt lower followed by a lower high, and maybe you missed it. Let's go ahead and delete some of these lines. I'll put this, make this red so you can see this more clearly. So this line right here is basically drawing, I'm gonna do it like this, there we go. This line right here is drawing these tops. So you ask yourself, this is pushing up. What does the underlying data tell me in this move? Well, right at the same point as these highs are getting higher, is the strength underneath this also agreeing with this? Well, we look down here, BitLab trading stack, this is that same period. We generally, this is just roughly drawn, but we generally see the tops of the stochastics angled to the downside. We see even right here, the RSI angled to the, this peak and this peak angled to the downside. So of this period right here, the trend, the underlying fuel for the move, which is why this is called the BitLab trend fuel. It's part of the BitLab trading stack. We're seeing the fuel of this move is getting weaker. So as the price pushed higher, there's not as much strength involved. So what does that tell you? Well, then if you notice this bearish divergence, you see this drop, maybe you didn't get out because we are so bullish about wanting this to go higher, but then we get another indication with this lower low followed by the lower high. Now let's turn on the indicators. Okay, now turning on the indicators, we also notice over here, the price, we got a basically bearish signal here, immediately followed by sideways price action, and this fell back through this trend signal line. Fell back through, got rejected right here. Pull back down, got rejected the trend signal line right here. We had an attempt here, came back in. Push down, come back into the trend signal line here with the sharper attitude, a sharper angle here as we see this, leaning over. And this gets rejected at the trend signal line again, comes back down, and notice, not only did we have a lower low followed by a lower high, yeah, we had a little bit of a bullish signal here, and what we did get a little bit of a reversal. But the indication here is that the real signal is that this is testing into the trend signal line. So now we're combining the price action with the indicator data. It could be any indicator you're using. In this case, I'm using the BitLab trading stack, and we see this breaking down, and this comes up. It cannot make it back to the trend signal line. It can only make it up to this 20 moving average and EMA ribbon that's right here and gets rejected all the way down. So we're utilizing the data that's there, and we could have been entirely ignorant, no clue whatsoever about the CPI data. Some people are going to tell you the CPI data and the dollar got stronger, so this dropped. Well, great. How does that reflect in what's going on over here with this already setting up for this move before that CPI data was even there? All these stories and the context and everything that happens does work together, but you can also be very focused on data and understand that what the move is likely going to be is being telegraphed for many candles, over many candles before the move is happening. Now, the interesting thing about what's going on right now is that we are coming down into a key level. Let me zoom out on this. Let's go on the 1 hour. This level right here, this low, and looking at where we're at right now, we're at a sort of critical juncture for the nearest term bullishness. Now, remember, I am very bullish over the next 18 months. In fact, I think we're probably going to be somewhere between 180 and 240 at the bull market high. But right now, I hope we get further downside. I have to ask myself, is it going to come? As it stands right now, price action came down, and look at where we're sitting right now. We have large impulses, increasing impulses. The strength of this bear trend, the candle, bigger candle, but now it's weakening into this zone right here. And it's interesting because this zone, whether we have this trend line here or not, this rising level of support, and look at this BitLab trading stack calling this move perfectly, stopping you right here with the bearish signal and the trend shift right here sideways, and then we're getting the downside getting rejected off the trend signal line. If you guys are not using the BitLab trading stack, I don't know what you're doing, because this is my favorite indicator I've ever used. It's probably also because I had a big part in developing it, so it gives me the signals I want, the signals I trade with. But this is going right here where we have this bounce support, and we're coming right back into this level. If we lose this level, it's not the end of the world. We have our levels outlined. As it stands right now, we did flip. This is interesting on the 1 hour. We did flip. We're kind of choppy here with negative money flow as we come in through here. Very, very small amount of positive money flow as this pushed up. So this right here would have signaled to me, yes, feels so good. Okay, it feels good. Ask yourself, if it feels good, let me say this on the big screen. If a move feels super good and super bullish, it's so exciting. You want to tweet about it. You want to call somebody. You got to ask yourself, what does the data say? What does the data say to either support or deny the likelihood of this move continuing in that direction, whether it's bullish or bearish? In the case right now, we just had a massive move to the upside yesterday, short liquidations, a lot of buying coming in right here. It took us from $47,900, $48,000 over all the way up to above $50,000. But looking down here on the bottom, we had no money flow that agreed with this. We had negative money flow through this. And on this huge move, there was essentially neutral money flow. There wasn't a lot of underlying strength that was saying, yeah, we're going up, up, and away. So this furthers this argument that this was an inefficient move. So it makes sense that we have this choppiness and then the breakdown here, clearing out this liquidity area. The question is going to be right here. Does price bounce here and move back to the upside, or do we lose this and flush out more liquidity to the downside? These are the questions that you need to be asking yourself when a move happens. What data supports this, or is there not supporting evidence? Should I be concerned with the reversal of this once exciting move? If you're not asking yourself these questions, you're here to donate your money. So you are here on this channel, even if you are or aren't asking these questions, you're here. I'm giving you the sauce. I'm giving you the data. And I hope each and every one of you learn something on every stream. I hope each and every one of you meet somebody in the community here. Hope you chat. I hope you learn and reinstill that we should all be positive and empowering in the space and share our journey, because that's what this is about. If you're about that, if you're about making this world a better place, if you're about making your portfolio help you make you have a better life and help your friends and family, and you want to learn, you want to grow, you want to dominate, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's dive back into these charts. So this is a make or break moment right now of the immediate move. This very well could have been a liquidity washout to the upside, liquidity washout to the downside. If we sort of chop in here, and remember when we were talking about this chart right here, we do get these large periods of sideways action after large impulses. So let me say this. So could max pain right now be sideways action with chops? And then the question is, how large is that range of sideways action? Because when we zoom back out onto this chart, this range through here, that was a sideways range. We had these smaller sideways ranges, and then we have this more macro sideways range. This was a $7,000 range up and down. So we could have a very small range like we've seen here in this sort of local distribution top before breakdown. Again, right here, whipsawing people back and forth, back and around, triggering all those different feelings of hope and fear and excitement and despair. When you don't have a strategy, you experience all those on a regular basis, and it's exhausting. So when we're looking at the chart, where we're at right now, when we're looking at this chart, look at this. We did have that impulse. We had sideways, but this was so limited. This was only, what is that, 21 hours? That is not the sideways range I'm talking about. I'm talking about having this. If we minimize all this stuff and we turn that off, if this very well could chop sideways all the way through until when the halving is, having these large liquidity sweeps to the upside, flushing out the shorts, liquidity sweeps to the downside, even further, flushing out the longs, getting the market as healthy as possible before the epic run that's going to come. So the question is, can you endure that on a 7-minute chart, trading your entire portfolio on 20x leverage every time you're in the market? No. You can do it for a week or two. You might have some great trades. What you can do is have a larger portfolio that is longer term based, and you take a smaller allocation of that and you trade waiting for confluences to line up and trading with the trend. The trend is your friend to the end. And when we look at this chart, if we put this out and put this on the 3-day, turn all this off and look at this, just like this, the trend right now, this is an uptrend. So if you're looking to short right now, more power to you, but you're really going to be finding yourself in the struggle bus if you do not have a very strong and effective strategy that you have perfected. Right now, I'm looking for any pullbacks, just like this one right here. And mind you, this was a 20% pullback. Okay. I'm looking for opportunities to buy before we get that halving that's coming up just around the corner. So am I worried about the move from 48 to 50 and then back to 48? No. Essentially, nothing has happened with price. We haven't broken through that key level of $50,000, and the halving has not yet happened. So let's be patient here. Now, let's get down back to the 1 hour. Let's get back to the 15-minute, because the charts are still saying there could be some further downside here. We're coming right into this level, support level. This is a key level. If we do lose this level, if we don't bounce here, then I do think this is, I don't want to call it the last line in the sand. The last line in the sand on the most near-term price action is this range right here perfectly correlates. If we draw a box on this range right here perfectly correlates with where we're at right now and this rising level of support. So this tells me this area needs to be defended if we're expecting a bounce. If we lose this area, I think, yes, we could bounce somewhere right. But if we lose this area, the likelihood of us coming down and testing this $47,100 range is stronger and stronger. Potentially even if we lose that, I think we are coming down to 45,000. And again, I'm not upset by that. If that were to happen, let's go. That means I can stack some more. That means altcoins probably bled further, which means I can stack. And you guys know I've been stacking into that altcoin portfolio that I started last week. I've been stacking into this, and I'm very excited right now that these prices are dropping, because I'm going to drop some more money into this, I think next week. So I want prices to go down so I can stack in. And there's some other coins I haven't gotten yet, and I'll let you guys know before I buy them in the Discord, in the BitLab Discord. I'll be telling you exactly what I'm buying. And, you know, I broke down the whole portfolio here where you guys need to get in the Discord. On that note, by the way, while 240 of you guys are here, guys and gals, make sure you hit that like button. But we do have that, the best deal we've ever had on this channel. Let me go ahead and refresh this page. But the best deal we've ever had on this channel, you get access to the BitLab Discord for free for 30 days. And after that, you get it's $25 a month. And we have live sessions with me, Josh, Drew, TA Tim, TJ's doing live sessions with me sometimes as well. We also have all the different charts, breakdowns, liquidations levels, gems, scalps, setups, chart requests. It's all in there, and it's such a wonderful community. You can sign up for it right here. I'm going to put this link here. And once you sign up for the premium Discord, it gives you an option to upgrade. You can get the indicators and the courses it's the lowest price we've ever had on this channel. So sign up here. I'm going to put that in the thing. Hey, we had a great community, and it's also the way that we pay our bills. So I appreciate it on all fronts having you guys in there, and we break this all down for you. So let's go back into Bitcoin. Let's talk about this. I'm going to share this. I'm going to pin that link I'm going to pin the link in the top of there we go. In the top of the live chat. Now, looking right here, we're going to look at some altcoins here in just a moment too. We got to watch this, and this is trying to make these impulses. Let's get down to the 5 minutes. 5 minutes, okay? We have very strong negative money flow. We had this attempt to the downside, came back up, and just got rejected. Stochastic still angled down. RSI, look, got rejected. This is telling. The RSI, come on, damn it. There you go. The RSI is trending to the downside here. You see this? We can even go like this. Boom, that's perfect. So peak, 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 lower. And what's happening now is on this smaller time frame, we're also getting rejected below the 50 line, which is generally meaning you're on the weaker side. RSI is relative strength index. That's what this purple line is here on the BitLab Trend Fuel. The orange line is more reactive. It's the stochastics. It really helps pulling triggers. But the fact that the RSI is coming down here below the 50 line, and we have negative money flow, and we're at this key sort of level, we're going to want to pay attention to this. This very well could bounce in here and come back down. We're going to want to keep an eye on what's going on here, whether or not this is going to break down. As it stands right now, on a candle basis, this broke down, pushed up, came back down, but we have this candle right here, which is a potential reversal candle. So we're going to want to see if the money flow starts coming in. If we're going to want to see if the strength starts coming up, we're going to want to see if all this red here on the BitLab, all this red that's here on the BitLab trading stack, this dashboard, all the different signals that are here in the BitLab Trend Fuel, are they bearish, neutral, or bullish? We have 0 bullish ones, almost all bearish signals here. So we're going to want to watch what level this might retrace up to, where it gets rejected. Okay. And if we do break this level, if we break back above 48.9, let's call it 49,000, then we're going to want to watch what happens when we get up into this zone. Now, what does this mean? I still think that we do still have this possibility, that level, the lower level, which is not that further below us, but 48.1, we got a lot of liquidation levels that are down here in the zone. Let's go ahead and refresh this page. We're going to come back over here, go to 12-hour run. Now zoom in on it, baby. So see, this is trying to work its way down, and this is right below us. I do think we have a pretty high probability coming down to this 48.1. What does that show on the chart? 48.1 would be basically at this line right here. So this, remember I just told you a second ago, I wasn't even looking at the liquidation levels yet. This is that zone coming down, flushing down into this, and bouncing here would be one, it would clear out that liquidity. And if we're able to actually bounce here and push up, that would be amazing, because we're clearing out, flushing out that liquidity to the downside. Unfortunately, getting fear people that are trading the fear, they're capitulating out to sell, only to have this potentially reverse. So we got to pay attention to what's going on here. Now, one of the things that I do want to point out, though, is ETH. We do have the ETH. ETF, around the corner. Speculation, maybe possibility it comes sooner than the final deadline in May. Maybe it gets fully denied in May, but there's a lot of opportunity here. We see on this chart right here, this is ETH to Bitcoin, meaning this is coming down to a zone that ETH tends to bounce and start outperforming Bitcoin. So this is a signal when you're looking at the alt market, okay? Whether or not you're trading this specific pair, it's a data source for you to gauge when alts might start to bounce. And when we come over here, we do see on Ethereum, now remember, this is where I entered that, all the green line on these charts is where I entered on the portfolio I was just showing you guys, where I entered these assets. And I expect there's still a high probability that at some point before the true bull kicks off, that this prices actually go below this. Ethereum may be a little less likely, but we're seeing it on a lot of the other ones. But this M formation, let's get down to the 1 hour. M formation. So what we're going to want to watch for here is potential, okay, drop, a little bit of rise, maybe retest this low, and then break down, rise, break down, and then can we hold this region here? Why? Because this is where all this price action was trading before. This is how we look at it. We see the money flow starting to roll over. It's going neutral here. It was positive, but now it's going neutral on its way towards negative. In addition to that, we also see a lot of selling pressure here with this red. See these red bars on the momentum wave? Stochastics angle down sharp. RSI angle down sharp. A lot of bearishness. Now, when we turn on the indicators, look at this. Pushing up. This was giving us forewarning. There is some weakness coming into these levels. And what we get? Push up, drop down, push up. M formation. We're right now riding on the weekly VWAP. Generally bullish if you could stay above this. The other thing, though, is that this 20 moving average is about to essentially death cross on this 50 moving average, the trend signal line. And the trend signal line turned red, suggesting that this is starting potentially a short-term downtrend at minimum. Now, we are sitting above this order block right here on the BitLab trading stack. And we're sitting right on this weekly VWAP. If we do push up in here, which is likely, and get any rejection or lose this level, this is telling me that this is likely coming down to test this range down here at 2,500, basically $100 down. $100 doesn't sound like a lot on Ethereum, but you know that's a 3 or 4% move. That also means if you're waiting to buy, that could be you get 4% more of your asset. If you're looking to scalp this, then wait for a sign that this is having some retracement that's looking like a potential short-term reversal and come back down and ride that short down here to this point of control, which is right through this blue line right here, part of the BitLab trading stack. Volume, high volume node here, point of control, right in this region. Now, let's go through some of the other ones. This is ADA. I mean, push up, large M formation, not only large M formation, smaller term M formation here. We also have a lower high. It's a lower high that's broke through the trend signal line and the weekly VWAP. So this is trying to hold on to its butt right here. Okay. Now, where did I buy this at? This is not the chart. Hold on. It's right. Alts, 24 alts. There we go. 88. This is where I bought Cardano on this most recent portfolio I set up. But we see this rolling over, rolling over, rolling over. M formation. 2 bearish divergences on the BitLab trading stack. I mean, if you guys are not using this, I'm telling you guys, use that link that's at the top of, pinned in the top of the chat there. It says sign up here and it has a thing. You can sign up for the BitLab Academy Discord, and through signing up for this, which is a 30-day free trial, you immediately get the opportunity to buy the BitLab trading stack and the course together. I think it's $57, which is, with the bundle of everything, it's like $40 or $50 cheaper a month. I'm telling you, and this is expiring in the next 48 hours. So, and you get access to this, to the full trading stack here and the Discord and all the courses. And we got some new courses me and Josh have been doing in the academy. So, where were we at? Cardano. We got a little bit of a bullish setup signal right here. Bullish signal, but we have negative money flow. Remember, we always want the stoplight action protocol. Where's my, at minimum, 3 green lights or 3 red lights? In this case, this has the M formation. So we know this is setting up and this was rolling over. So we see the market's kind of suffering right now with Bitcoin and the CPI and the dollar and all this stuff. But we see this bearish divergences after an M formation, and this trend shift before all this was telling us, this was forewarning us something might be happening. This broke through the trend signal line, came down. We do have a bullish setup, but this is all telling me that this, on a bounce here, I'm looking for a potential bounce here into this region and then likely test somewhere down into this region down here. Basically, likely a round number, 50 cents is a good sort of stopping point, which happens to be right where this order block is, which is 50 cents to basically in the 50s, the 50 cents is. So would that be the worst thing? It's the worst thing in the world if you're buying and then looking at the chart every 10 seconds and you say, oh, I'm down 3%. I'm down. No, I see this and I say, damn, I get to buy again at this 50-cent mark. If it even drops lower than that, great. I get to take advantage of that. I am harvesting capital anywhere I can right now. Let me say this. This crypto market is about to explode. We know that from the data. I am living so poor right now to make sure I can make every cent, every nickel available to allocate to the projects, to the assets, to the protocols, to the ecosystems that I think are going to perform well in this next bull market. That is, we're already in the middle of, but the rockets really start to light after the halving. And so I'm doing everything I can, realizing that every dollar that I spend right now, I feel like I'm stealing $10,000 from myself. So I am living ramen poor right now so that I can take advantage of this market and not basically stop letting the world take advantage of me. And I hope all of you are looking at the opportunity that is before us and doing everything that you can to make sure that you can make the best use of what I think is probably the last life-changing opportunity we're really going to get in crypto, and that is going into this bull market cycle. Everything changes once institutions are in. Everything changes once we get above that 10, 15, 20% global adoption rate. Regulations get different. The volatility is going to start to diminish because projects are going to be more established and have more monetary energy, larger market caps. Now is the time. What are you doing about it? Yes, sir. I do say so myself. And so I want this to come down. If this does hold here, great. But we still need to contend. Maybe this ranges sideways. We can already see the level here on the BitLab trading stack with this order block. We have one here and then it doubles up right here. It starts again. So if this does push up into here, I have this to contend with. Near M formation, same thing. Likely rolling to the downside. Let's look at some of the other ones that we haven't looked at lately. My list right here. Okay, let's look at ALGO. Algorand. Look, I mean, rising broadening wedge. See this? Rising broadening wedge. This comes all the way out to here. Rising broadening wedges tend to break bearish. We had a trend shift right here. Move all the way back down to this lower bound, pushes back up. What we get right here before the breakdown, I'm telling you, these signals help you out. 3 bearish divergences. What we get, start of a move down, a little attempt higher, and then another reversal, basically signal that this was likely going to break down. This flag right here, this REV. And what does it do? Boom, pushes down. Now, is this, because we got this bullish signal, does this mean it's a reversal? No. Remember, 1, 2, 3 minimum. Stoplight action protocol. Okay, this means that right here, maybe this was on a short, a little bit of a take profit zone, and as the price pushed back up, it already immediately started failing. We also, on this bullish signal, you would have had a red light right here because you have negative money flow expanding at the time that this bullish signal. So this tells me that this is a likely pause point right here. This wick came down and then it came back up. And now we want to basically, we're in a holding pattern to see what this does next, because this broadening wedge, this very well could come up and everybody's like, oh, okay, it's reversing. And it gets rejected right there as it confirms a breakdown on this rising level of previous support that is now above us and resistance. Now, if we do break back into this, find support and move high, great. But we need to be in a holding pattern until we get those 3 green lights. Atom. Oh man, look at this. M formation, lower low. This is a lower high. It's very close, but it's a lower high here. This is looking very indifferent though, because we broke down below the VWAP. We came right back up above it and we're bouncing on it. If we lose this level, then I do think that we're coming down. Where would I say? I would say right in this zone right here. This is what I'd be watching. Why? We have these rejections. We have all this right here. We have a rejection here. We have a bounce here. We have a rejection at the top side of this box. You see how I drew this box, trying to have as many touch points of key levels as possible. So if we lose this level, I'm watching for a potential drop down here into the 967 sort of zone. If we lose that, then I think, look at that. I didn't even notice that. Look at that. Talk about a good box. You got a good box, man. So if we lose this level, then, you know, we can discuss it then, but things are not looking super bullish for Adam, unless you're considering the buying opportunity for the coming bull run. We have not looked at XRP in a minute. Okay, option T, got a trend line right here. Trend line right here, option J. But what does this look like? I won't call this descending triangle, meaning descending level resistance, flat level support, because we don't have this from resistance to support oscillation, but we do have this flat bottom. Let's see. What do I do? This we kind of do. Top, bottom, top, bottom. This is telling me that there's likely flushing out of liquidity to the downside. We have negative money flow also just kick back on here on the daily. RSI is angled to the downside. Stochastics starting to weaken. What does it look like on the 1 hour? Yeah, I mean, I would be watching for a move down to this point of control, which is right in this region here. Right down here, testing this level, 49 cents. And if we lose that, coming down to this lower level, 47 cents. If we're able, if something reverses and we get this bullishness, then I would like to see that we take out these two order blocks that we have right above us, 53, 54 cent region. And then we could talk about working our way up here into this 58 cent region. But I feel like there's a lot of momentum and community momentum that's been a little bit lost with XRP, unfortunately. But that doesn't mean that it's over for it. I just think everything's doing some work right now. Phantom's got a, ooh, look at this. Phantom's got a little bit of a, let's turn off. Man, look at these calls on Phantom, the BitLab trading stack. Man, I'm telling you, you guys get that. Use that link. Take advantage of it while it's there. You get that lower price for life too, by the way. So once it's gone, you don't get it no more. We got a rising wedge. Rising wedge oscillating between this. I see this potentially even working its way up into this region. And if we can't take this out right now, I'm going to lean more bearish because of what's going on in the market. If we do lose this level, then I think that coming into this region right here, here's a low, all of this choppy zone right in here, coming down to this 35 cent region. If we lose that, potentially lower. But as it stands right now, I'm in a little bit of a holding pattern on things. But this is suggesting to me the next move for Phantom is down into this zone. Order block, perfectly in line, confluent with this rising level support right in here, 37.8, 37.7 sort of zone. If we lose that, then we got the level. ICP, yeah, you know me. All right. So looks a little bit like a Head and Shoulders. How many of you guys saw that when you looked at it? So what we see shoulder, head, and some shoulder right there. So let's do a trend line right there, neckline. Okay. Measure this out, top of the head to the neckline. Measure this out. This is suggesting testing down. Is this, look at this, man. I'm telling you, all these things line up. We could even go like this. Just draw this from this target across. We see how important this level is. Rejection on the bottom, rejection on the top. This price action right through it, rejection just below it. All this price action right in here. You can even go further, a bounce on this level. So this is telling me that if we do come down and lose this neckline level, we're likely going to be testing down here into the $7 to $8 range. Now that feels bearish, right? Well, the charts are just saying that. So when we look at this on the 1 hour time frame, there's just a lot of bearishness here. Head and Shoulders right here, breakdown. Head and Shoulders kind of right here, not quite, but similar shaping. And this is no longer getting higher highs in this range. All of a sudden, lower high, lower high. The next move I'm looking for is testing down into this $11, $11.75 sort of range. But everybody, the markets are doing what they do. They're chopping about. They're doing their work to get you triggered emotionally. So what's your strategy? What are you buying? What are you selling? Get in the Discord. Use that link that's there in the top of the chat there. And if you haven't yet, if you haven't done your taxes, what the hell are you doing? at least start the process of exploring what tax service you want to use. I would recommend our partner decrypted.tax/hit right here, decrypted.tax/hit. You get 25% off standard pricing, and you can get a free consultation and get this done before it's the last minute and everybody's doing it. And there's no need to have stress. Remember, when we're trading, when we're in these charts, it's not just about doing taxes. It's not just about cutting your yard. It's not just about doing your laundry. It's not just about making your bed. When your life is balanced, you have a clearer mind and you can do everything more effectively. So if you're actively trading in charts and you have a dirty mind, I don't mean like a dirty mind. You have a cloudy mind because you're so distracted with all the things that you don't have organized. It affects your ability to make money. So even if it's not because you think being happy is foo-foo and whatever the reason is, everything is better in life when your life is balanced. So that also starts with getting your taxes done. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I got to run. I will see you in another episode, and I'll see you in the Discord. Adios. Adios, muchachos. Let me see. I didn't see any super chats. Let me just make sure. Okay, awesome. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day. Hit that like button. Take advantage of this market while you can.